Let's go.
Hi, everybody. This is Elena from Cross Cultural Development, and you are listening to Bending Culture podcast, the show where we master the art of cultural collaboration and where professionals learn how to grow, to thrive in the multicultural world we work and live in today, and how to become the real global game changers. Welcome. Today's episode, we are unpacking the impact culture has on how we all, as consumers, react to branding and advertisement of the product. Why is one product is really a huge success in the culture A and can be a total failure in the culture B? And why it is important for the companies to understand these cultural differences and use them to their advantage. Now, we are doing it today with our guest, Elena Ozerecky. Elena, welcome. Elena is the owner of Fresh Insights, the company that helps organizations in food industry to innovate, to take the brand to the new level. And this brand should be built on not only needs of the consumer, but also on the values. She believes that understanding why people are buying stuff is the basic of building a successful brand. Elena worked with a number of renowned companies, multinationals. She is also a keynote speaker, talking on the global stages about this topic. And Elena and me, on a personal note, not only share the first name, but the country we were born in. So, once again, welcome, Elena. Great to have you here.
Well, thank you, Elena. I'm very happy to be part of this podcast.
Thank you. You know, when I was preparing for this podcast, I got this question, and it became sort of burning question for me. So normally I start with introduce yourself and stuff like that, and do the touchdown on us coming from the same cultural background. But now I want to dive deep right away and ask you, do you believe that the culture shapes the behavior of consumers?
It's definitely a driver of behavior. If I look into products and brands, semiotics is very relevant for culture. So the signs and the colors we have been brought up with are different in different cultures.
Yeah. Really? Oh, can you give an example? Because I never heard about that before, that the colors can be culturally preferred.
Think about the positive associations we have in Holland with orange color, for example. That's very typical, but also associations with certain shapes or colors, like white is in certain cultures a very positive color, in other cultures more negative color. I think it's really relevant to understand where you're coming from. And I think a good example of a project that I've worked on in the past was the colors of tomatoes. It was already a long time ago where we tried to introduce a brown tomato in the Western European countries, where brown in terms of tomato was very unknown and people were not buying and not eating the product. Compared to the countries in the South, where a brown tomato was much more, known, and also from the heritage. And there, the product actually did become a success. Well, later on, you see that, other countries are picking up, but there again, culture, semiotics is really relevant when you're thinking of introducing new products and new brands to the market.
So, do I understand it correctly that there are some products which are just unsaleable in the country? It can be due to the color, actually.
Yes, definitely. Or shape or even flavor. Look at specific flavor profiles that we have and where people eat certain flavors. Like, for example, in the UK with the Marmite, it's not something that I really enjoy, but a lot of people there eat that. And here we have also in Holland more specific types of flavors with certain vegetables like endive or so. Yeah, and then in Italy you have artichoke, and not everybody is fond of that flavor, but when you're brought up with that and it's coming from your heritage, so you have a more different experience of that.
What can you do in your work to change this story? Can you do something about it, or you just should accept that? For example, I know from my own experience in fruits and vegetables that Brussels sprouts, so popular in the Netherlands, or wheatloaf, chicory,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They never like made it in a big time to, for example, Russian market I was familiar with. So what can you do? What can you do? And when you say, okay, guys, let's stop, it's not working, we're not going to waste my time and money on that.
Well, I think there are, of course, products that have been unknown, like, for example, avocado. That was really unknown in the European market, and now it's taking off. It's booming, and it has to do with different. It has to do with the the way of consumption and the versatile usage of the product, but also of the flavor, making it more subtle, easygoing. So I think also in terms of very outspoken products like maybe Brussels sprouts or chicory, thinking of making the products more versatile and also adjusting a little bit more the flavor profile to be more, let's say, mild and etc. could help definitely. Yeah. Yes.
And that is what you do in your work, right? So you tell the organization, okay, guys, let's see how we can play with the flavor, for example.
Yeah, exactly. And with the product and with the colors and that I support with consumer insights and also consumer work in different countries to understand if that offer would also appeal to multiple countries or only to a specific country because of heritage and etc. So, and then coming back to the brown tomato, you do see now brown tomato is more picking up in the Northern European countries. So, but it took like more than 10 years to get people from scared of such tomatoes to more accepting and even appreciating the flavor profile, because that is different from a normal tomato. It's more savory, etc. I think we need to communicate more on that, on the value.
I'm curious, how big is this brown tomato thing? Is it worth like spending 10 years into marketing, promotion, and stuff like that to do that? When can you advise the company on a certain moment, guys, the idea is great, but stay within your border, stay on the market, try a new market. This market is not for you. How long this normally take? What the project like that, the promotion of this product?
I would always advise companies to trial and error. I mean, you learn from that, right? You learn a lot. And also, if the product is not a success, you learn from that. And then you think of other products that could be a success based on those learnings. So I would always advise to try things out, new things, because it can also surprise you, become a positive surprise. So maybe the brown tomato did not pick up right away, but from that we learned, and then we marketed other types of tomatoes that became faster success stories because of the learnings we had. So I would always advise.
You win some or you learn some.
Exactly.
It's always a positive outcome. Do you have and maybe an example, maybe a funny example of something that was like really learning experience? Maybe from you, maybe from your client, without naming names, of course.
Well, that was already quite some time ago, but there was this melon we were working on that was more like a lemon melon. In that time, it was really a long time ago. So it was inspired by the fact you have green apples, like you have sweet apples, but you also have very acidic apples. And then there was this idea, hey, maybe we could also create this kind of acidic category for melons. It was challenging because communication on the product was still limited. You do see now it changes with social media. I think you can do much more than we did in the past. So especially with channels like Instagram, but also TikTok, it's really a good way to inspire the young audience, with new flavors, new usages, etc. So it was everybody like strange to have this zesty type of melon. But actually now it's really taking off in especially countries like UK where they are looking for new kind of flavors. And now it's the lemon melon. I see it sometimes also in stores, also in Holland. So it's finally sort of taking off. But that was really like a strange flavor, I guess, for everybody. And people need to get used to it and also understand how to eat it.
You surprised me again when you said there are countries who are more willing to try new stuff, who are
Yeah,
more open. Can you
yeah.
tell us a bit more about that? Because it's a new phenomenon to me.
Certain countries where the consumers are more eager to experiment, let's say, and especially UK is such a country, all the new products normally start there. Whereas Germany is a very big market, but it's more, I'm not saying that they are not innovative because they are, but they are also very much focused on sustainability, for example, and organic. So you do see that different cultures, different countries have a different type of mindset when they buy produce. I think Holland is a little bit more in between, so it's still innovative, but also people are looking for convenience. French leaning towards more heritage, more local produce. So you do see differences. So also when marketing products, you can also try to more lean towards what they find important in your messaging. I think that could really help you to stimulate the sale of certain products.
Yeah. I read on your website, and we had previous talks, that this why you are really looking, in order to make a successful brand, you need to go and look for the why of the consumers. So I'm curious, how do you take it on in your company, in your work? And describe to the listeners a little bit, what do you do and Fresh Insights can do for companies?
So the why is really important. What is driving consumers to buying certain brands? So what are the values behind? It could be values around having aspirational food or having new kind of flavors, or the values around health or buying organic. What are the values consumers are looking for when buying into your product or brand? Or is it just price, value for money? If you understand that, then you can also segment your offer towards specific consumer groups, because not everybody is the same. Some people are looking more for convenience because they have small families with kids and they don't have a lot of time to prepare food, but still needs to be healthy, but convenience is the main driver. Then you have maybe the younger generation that are more like singles and that are more looking for new flavors. And then you have the older generation that are more looking for heritage or even organic. So trying to understand the values, then translate that into messaging and also, of course, into products to market towards specific groups. I think that's really important. People always look for the melon or the tomato or the pepper that would be bought by everybody. And that also happens, of course, because the value for money should be bought by everybody, right? But if you try to create something for everybody that is actually for really not really anybody, I mean, it's so everybody needs
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah,
it,
yeah.
so nobody really, really likes it. So, yeah.
I like this quote: "If you stand for everything, you will fall. No, if you don't, if you stand for everything, you will fall for nothing," or something like that. And what is your company does? How does Fresh Insights help organization with that process, companies with that process?
Mhm. Innovation platforms organize that, looking at the future, looking at consumer trends, what are the values, and then translating that into new concepts, into new branding stories, helping companies develop new products to the market, exploring that in different countries with consumers. So really trying to understand what would be appreciated by consumers in terms of the product, but also in terms of the messaging and the branding.
So it can be like, we want a new product for
Mhm.
this market. So we need to understand if this product will be popular,
Mhm.
or we have already an existing product which is very popular here, but we want to go globally.
Yeah. Yeah, that happens a lot actually. You see now more and more grapes offering blueberries. They're coming from sometimes from far away. And and developing the category here, but also trades like the seedless trade with the grape category really open up the market, and also new flavor profiles in the grape category, making them making more attractive for consumers to buy different types of grapes for usages. Look at the avocado with the mini sizes. I think that's really interesting for consumers, especially when you want to eat one avocado. It often was too big. So now with the minis, it's opening up, uh, also making it more convenient, let's say, the offering. So I think there's a lot going on and happening. And, but also think about tomatoes from that are really popular in the South European countries being marketed in the North. So yeah, it's not only about new products, it's also about marketing more exotic products to the North. Yeah, so there are two things. One is that the globalization, and that's really a fact, especially with social media. More people are becoming alike. We are more or less all preparing smoothies. We all are snacking. So there are really these kind of trends that we are sort of all embracing. That could be a really good starting point, especially looking at, hey, what is everybody doing? What are the values that everybody seems to have, like on health, on convenience? And then if you do local campaigns, where could we link up on a local level as well? I think it's both ways. I think more you can have a global message for your brand or for your product, like let's say for tomatoes, or for another category like for sweet peppers. Okay, these are great for snacking because it has a very pleasant flavor, so it's not really persistent like normally the bell pepper. That could be already attractive. But then you could, in local campaigns, the snacking pepper to have more wine or with cheese in specific countries, to try to have this local kind of sauce around that. But the main investment should be still on the global kind of trends that you see.
What are the global trends you see in fresh food?
Yeah, so one definitely is around convenience. Of course, sustainability is another one, but also indulgence. So that could be all around flavor and experiences. And then I think still a very important trend is more like the affordable luxury, value for money kind of type of trend. So these are, let's say, the global trends, the more mega trends that are here to stay. And then those trends are really relevant to tick boxes on when you're trying to market products. Hey, guys, what about the sustainability? Could we say something about that? That could really be interesting for consumers. For example, what do you do with the waste of the product? Or do you, for example, produce tomato sauce with the waste of this variety that you can also then buy?
You see, people are really getting excited about this kind of things. Wow, that's amazing. That's really good for the world.
I think so. Try to have like low emissions and all these things. So more local produce. So everything that could help. And then you do see that specific countries are more, like in France and in Germany, excited about sustainability compared to, for example, in the UK, it's then more about indulgence. So, and in Holland, it's, let's say, a little bit more on convenience. So you do see the differences then.
Interesting. Do you think it has something to do with the history of the country? I'm just
Yeah.
brainstorming with you. It's because it's interesting for me to think. I would never say that Brits are such adventurous type for the new flavors. I would say that maybe Dutch, that we have this expression, what the farmer doesn't know, he doesn't eat, here in Holland. So I understand that Dutch can be traditional. Germans, I think, can be traditional. French are very patriotic. So their own stuff is interesting for them. So I can imagine that. But do you have any ideas why it is like this? Why it's grew to be like this? Is it something with welfare? But yeah, they're all actually financially secure countries, so it's not really like welfare. It's not like a poor country. That's an interesting topic.
That is, I guess, a combination of different things. Like there are a lot of different cultures in the UK that could also inspire different cooking, like Indian. So I think that is part of the adventurous flavors.
That's
So
interesting. Yes.
that is also here in Holland, where you have also different cultures introducing different type of typologies, more like certain banana types for baking.
Yeah.
It is the cultures that are mixing and becoming more evident in the country, that are influencing what people eat and what they think and what they want to buy. And but next to that, I think maybe because the kitchen in the UK is less, let's say, established. France, you have this really rich kitchen. So then they tend to be more happy with what they have, let's say, let's say. And then not I'm not saying that they are not adventurous, but I guess they are less triggered to be adventurous. And then in the UK, it's less established, it's more basic, and then the people are more excited to learn and to experiment.
Thinking, I'm trying to make. Yeah, it's just. I'm thinking about that maybe an island country. I'm thinking about Japan, and that's also a country which is very, very curious. There's a square watermelon that they made. It's not on taste, but it's on a form so that it can easily fit in a
convenient
refrigerator.
Yeah.
They came with it. It's the island theme that they're sitting there on their island and they're
Yes, going more out of the box. And I think that's really good that we go more out of the box with food, because it can bring us new kind of ideas on how to consume food. Or for example, we try to consume more fruit and vegetables, especially vegetables. So it means that we need to eat vegetables, also try to eat them in the morning. And that's a challenge because we associate them with dinner. How do you create textures or come up with flavors that you could eat in the morning next to your smoothie or in your smoothie? We need to get also more out of the box to arrive at the objective that we have to eat more fruit and vegetables. And then you do see that the Northern European countries are more, I think, more innovative or more disruptive in that. And then the Southern European countries are following also, yeah, in that respect. Yeah.
your clients, they are mostly Dutch companies or they are also coming from all over?
And, yeah, there are international companies in breeding, but also in producing, trading, shipping, etc.
Do you also see the differences in their approach? Like when you work with them, do you feel the difference in working with Dutch companies in the sense of their different things they want, the different strategies they want to implement in comparison with other countries? Or they're just easy to deal with on a human level?
Yeah, yes, of course you do see. But what I also see is that even if it's a Dutch, let's say, office, the company is more international, and it's these days it's very hard to find only a local small company. They're
Yes.
always connected to the world. That's
Yeah.
what you see, and I think that's really positive because you get the influences from different cultures in the team and in the thinking, and I think that's really adding value, definitely. And also, even throughout the regions, it's different. Also, in the US, I think it's really exciting what's happening there, where you see that the consumer brands of fruit and vegetables are more important at consumer level compared to in Europe, where you have more retailer brands or there are no brands. Or, yeah, I think that's where we can also learn from each other and why is that the case, but also what makes the brands attractive at consumer level? What are consumers looking for? And also in Asia, actually, consumer branding, it's really relevant, important due to their own reasons again. So I think there we could learn a lot also in Europe to understand how we can brand better.
Yeah.
I'm coming from a Unilever environment where you
Mhm.
have really like, brand managers and design managers, and design thinking was really relevant. And then also designing in the branding was really relevant. And that you see also in the US more happening with the produce companies where you have really whole design teams, etc. That's not something that we are used to in Europe to have that.
Yeah.
So I think
Do
that's
you think it's our future? Do you
um
think we need to go there?
I think so. Yes. Yes, well, definitely think more from a consumer standpoint and look at your branding and at your messaging. But then, most probably in Europe, more in collaboration with the retailer than you have in the US, for example, where the producing brands are very dominant. But I think the messaging, there's something lost in translation. And even though I do see that the producing company is trying to do messaging on the new product, it does get lost at retailer level. You don't see it back at the retailer anymore. That is communicating directly to the consumer. So, and that's, I think, a pity.
Do you think that's because this message is so from the producer that the retail said, okay, it's not our message. We are not interested in conveying this message.
It could be. It could also be that it's not distinguishing enough from the messaging on the other products, or they just don't see the value of the messaging. I think there more collaboration needs to happen so that consumers are really benefiting from any communication that's coming their way, because now it's still vague
Yeah.
or it's not there, and that's a pity.
And
Yeah.
there was a previous guest here on the podcast, and we were talking about something different, but we were talking about the culture, and that we
Hmm.
use buzzwords to tell our employees what this culture means. And then we're using words which in Netherlands, in Scandinavian countries, can mean something totally different than in Asian countries. And then you come with this and you say we are global multinational and we have this one unified message which is not understood at all, which is lost in translation, literally.
Yeah.
And so what you're saying, it's actually how I hear it. It's the same with the consumer. We need to make sure that we are talking to these people exactly. And it can be a generation, but also a country, a
Yeah.
culture is coming from.
Yeah, definitely. I think there we need to put more efforts in, and that's a lot to do with collaboration and more like a category management type of approach. Um, So more getting out of the pricing discussions that you tend to have a lot in these type of
Mhm, mhm.
transactional kind of almost
More out of
relationships.
sales and more in the category management.
Yeah, exactly. More, okay, guys, how we are going to grow this category in avocados, even though it's already growing, but how can we diversify even better, link more to the consumer needs and the different needs, and then also in the messaging,
Yeah.
because at some point people don't understand anymore why there are now 4 types or 5 types of avocado. Really, to understand and to grow the category, we need to do more together. And I think there is also a challenge, as you say, Elena, where you have different cultures. The Spanish company then is producing the tomatoes, for example, for Dutch retailer. And there then the communication is not smooth. They don't speak the same language, so they need to speak English, and then things get lost in translation, etc., etc. So you need to really think of how to overcome these challenges that you may have.
Very interesting. You already said so many important things. So just you win some or you learn some. Still try to do that. Pay attention to to this sustainability. What are more tips that you can give to the people, to the organization, to the companies who say, okay, I want to go globally or I got to go internationally with my fantastic product? What are the tips they can give them?
To do more consumer insight work, because that really gives you a good direction of what you should be doing and how you should be doing it. So stop try to figure it out all by yourself, but really assess with consumers in focus groups.
Go to the stores, the people who want to buy your product. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and also have discussions with the young generation. Hey, we're thinking of this type of product. What do you think? And then have really the co-creation with different consumer groups, different cultures, and trying to understand the commonalities on how you could market. Yeah.
and
That's
your
really,
company is the go-to source to start this conversation, right? Between the
yeah.
consumer and the producer or
Yeah.
manufacturer.
Yes, yes. It's always been a passion of mine. I mean, I started working on consumer insight already at Unilever, moving also towards companies like Syngenta, Philips. It's always been a passion to link because I see that it has brings a lot of values, especially the insight. I mean, you see that a lot of companies are data rich, but insight poor. So they have a lot
That's
of
a good one.
data.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, but they still don't know really what to do. Or they
Yeah.
have the same data as all the competitors have. So it's not giving them advantage, let's say,
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
distinguishing.
Yeah. In my business, in the coaching and training and consulting business, I'm always saying we all heard that knowledge is power, but actually knowledge is only potential power.
Hmm.
It starts becoming real power when you do something with this knowledge. So you have this information, how you can put it into the practice, and that is where the missing links are very often, not even sometimes, very often. But
Yeah.
you already started to talk a little bit about your personal background, your professional background. Can you tell the listeners a little bit more about yourself? Now we're finishing with you.
Yeah. So as mentioned, I really enjoy working in the insight arena to really to come up with insights that could that can really help companies market new products or also existing products better. So that is one angle. Another angle that I really enjoy is more innovation. So innovation platforms to set that up, to start looking at trends, to translate that into new products, new services, and to help companies develop that and market that. So these are two really passions of mine. So one is the insight, and then the other is the innovation. And I think I work in this arena already plus years. Time is moving fast, plus years already. From 2006 in fresh produce. Did a lot of different projects, type of work, have a lot of insight on consumers, and still loving it every day to working on that and
Ah,
really to come up with products people love instead of just accept. Yeah.
sound that's very inspiring. Sounds very sweet also for products people love. What is next for you personally, for your professionally? We are recording it in the beginning of the new year. So what's better? What are you looking for this coming 2025?
So I'm actually starting a new position at company level soon, where I really am going to set up the whole insight capabilities there. I'm pretty enthusiastic about that. So
Not in your own company, but somewhere.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, because what I've been missing actually the last couple of years is really creating that impact at company level with projects, with new work. And there you need to really work longer term in a company to accomplish that,
Yeah.
compared to
Yeah.
just having a project and or a focus group
Yeah.
that I miss. And that's why I'm re-entering. And I hope I will be doing exciting things. And I look forward to this new adventure that I'm starting very soon. So I'm
Oh, when are you starting?
next week.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
I presume it's a Dutch company if you're starting, because you're not moving to another country, right?
No, not yet. But it's, yeah, I'm also even open for that because I think from experiencing cultures, as we talk about culture and diversity, it's really enriching for you as a personal development, but also
Absolutely.
for your business. I think you can learn really a lot from different cultures that opens your eyes and gives you new inspiration and insight. So I
Yeah.
think moving into other countries and working there, it's enriching.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I remember we were talking the first time we met that you were playing around with the idea to move into the south of Europe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's still in a dream stage.
Yeah, not per se the south, but to another regions. Could also be another region. So that we're really to learn also more from that, as I'm in Europe already for quite a long time. And I think that could also be quite exciting at a
Absolutely.
certain point in time.
But for now, I want to thank you for all the insight and for the great tips. And I think, guys, if you listen, it's so many interesting stuff that you can pick out and use it for your own company. Just do that. I learned a lot, and I see myself as a professional in this cultural stuff. So, and I learned so much. Thank you very much, Elena. And I want to wish you a lot of luck with your new adventure. That sounds very, very, very exciting. But if the people are listening and they say, "Oh, I would like to use some help," does Fresh Insights disappear, or people can still reach them somewhere?
Well, it will be taken over by the colleagues I worked with, so I could also connect the people that are still looking for certain services.
Guys, you are who are listening and who are thinking, yes, I want to work with this, send a message and we will connect you. I will connect you to Elena. Elena connects you to the right people, so you will get help if you want to.
Definitely.
Thank you very much. Guys, even if you never heard about this topic before, I'm sure that after listening to Elena today, telling about her experiences on how branding and marketing can be influenced by cultural stuff. It's different from UK to Germany to France, right? I think that you understand that next to this sales, marketing, branding skills that are all very, very important, understanding the cultural differences is becoming one of the most powerful professional tools. So if you feel inspired by Elena, her example, her insights, want to learn more, want to become more confident in navigating the multicultural landscape, join me in 2 weeks for the new episode of Bending Culture for more tips, for more insights with a new guest. I'm telling that every time, but we are still starting out and your support means the world. So please don't forget to subscribe. If you like to watch us, do that on YouTube. If you are just prima with listening, that is Spotify, leave a review, share this episode with a fellow global game changer. And until I see you again, this is Elena from Cross Cultural Development. And I want to ask you to keep bending culture together to shape a thriving, inclusive business world. Thank you, Elena. Bye-bye.